came back here to take care of a few things. Wanted the kids to be able to see their friends, and had some items to take care of while we're here with the house and everything. But one of the things we really have to do is get the truck fixed. And now we're heading down to Denver to drop Hagrid off, and hopefully when Hagrid gets out of the shop, all will be good, and we won't be going to any shops for some time. So we're going to get ourselves a rental car. We're going to drop the truck off at the shop once again, and we're going to continue on with life and hope for the best. All right, for only the second time in our entire trip in a couple of months, Harley and I have managed to break out our mountain bikes. We're back in Colorado, and I wanted to ride Picture Rock Trail just outside Lyons. This is one of my favorite trails in the area. It's a decent trail, but it's not overly technical. So if you're looking for a good ride that's mellow but gives you a little bit of a workout, and obviously with the scenery the way it is, it's a very enjoyable trail. So if you're ever in this part of Colorado, north of Boulder, come out and check out Lyons and check out Picture Rock Trail. And we're just up the road from here is Hall Ranch, which is also a really good trail. It has some good technical rock gardens that we enjoy riding, but since it's only been the second time this entire trip, and geez, 2 times since April of this year that we've been on our mountain bikes, I know this old man's huffing a little bit. It's chilly out today, and it's been a while since we've been on the mountain bikes, since Burlington, Vermont. And yeah, it's taken a while for the lungs to get used to this. But this has been a good ride to kind of try to break the lungs in a little bit, especially now that we're back at altitude.
Yeah.
After this, we go find some warm weather and hopefully a lot more trails to work off some of those Burlington creamies and and coincidentally Burlington Magic Hat number 9s, and
well, you had that.
a few snacks along our way. So we've been enjoying our trip, but maybe my belly is not enjoying it as much. So we have to get out and do some more riding. But we thought we'd show you Picture Rock Trail. This is pretty cool. So we froze our hose last night. We've been in Colorado for about a week and a half, and temperatures have definitely dropped. I was smart enough to turn on the furnace last night and let the underbelly stay warm so our tanks wouldn't freeze. And I wondered about the hose and whether I should leave it connected or not. Our park has insulation and heated wire on the actual water spigots. So I thought maybe, just maybe, the water coming out of there would be warm enough, just enough to keep the hose from freezing, but apparently it wasn't. I got out of bed this morning and went to the bathroom and tried to flush the toilet, and no water came out, and no water came out of the sink either. I said, oh no. So we froze our hose. So anyway, I went out to check it, and sure enough, much of the hose was solid ice. So as you can see, we are warming our hose and thawing it out on the floor of our RV in front of a heater, and we'll get that thawed out. Oh, here's the filter. Froze too. We'll get that thawed out, and then I will put more water in our holding tank. Our freshwater tank has just a little bit of water, so luckily we run around with a little bit of water in there for things like flushing while traveling and that kind of thing, in little moments like this where something might not be right with the pressure coming out of the city water. So at least we have a little bit of water for flushing and that kind of thing, but I don't run around with much because that's a lot of weight to carry if you don't need it. So the tank is pretty much almost empty, so we'll have to get it filled up and learn from our error and leave the hose disconnected while these nights drop down into the mid to low 20s here for the rest of the week. So anyway, Word to the wise, tip for you guys looking to go on an RV. Don't trust that even a heated spigot will be enough to keep your hose from freezing. We just picked up the truck that's given us so much trouble. $10,000 later. And we have a truck back, so hopefully Hagrid, the truck, will take us on many more adventures and not give us any more trouble. So here we are, we're getting back into Hagrid for the first time in almost 2 weeks. We dropped it off last Tuesday, and this is Friday of the following week. So there he is, all fixed up, hopefully ready to go. Hopefully we will not put any more info on our YouTube channel about how Hagrid is broken down on us. Wish us luck. We had to drive Hagrid a few hundred miles to get him broken in before we hook up the camper and tow it south out of Colorado. So we decided to take a day and come to Colorado Springs, and that was enough to get us our mileage there and back. But we decided we wanted to come check out the Colorado Museum of Mining and Industry. It's in North Colorado Springs. We passed by it a million times, but never managed to come see it. So we're gonna go inside and check it out, and you guys can come see what it's all about.
So they would have to keep that water out of there so that they could mine deeper. This is a downing water pump. And the way this works is that you have your piston on top, which operate these dual rocker arms, which operate this concentric rod. Now this one has a very cool thing.
Okay, so we just left the Western Museum of Mining and Industry down in Colorado Springs, and it was awesome. It was way cooler than I even thought it would be.
Oh wait, and it's been on my list for like a long time to maybe do a homeschool field trip to it or something, but...
Yeah, so we passed this museum a million times. It's right off of I-25, it's north of Colorado Springs, And we've driven by it. I couldn't tell you how many times I've driven by it, and they have little mining structures out in the field, so it grabs your attention. And I always thought maybe I should stop by there someday. So we finally, when we're back in Colorado after being on the road, stopped by the museum because we had to drive Hagrid around. We'll tell you about that in a second. But anyway, it was awesome.
And I definitely recommend if you go to get a tour. We did a loop through the museum the first time and played with all the hands-on stuff and read some signs. But then after we watched the 22-minute long movie, we were introduced to Chip, who was giving tours this Saturday afternoon.
Saturday, yes.
And
late afternoon now.
Way cool hearing his information and what he knows about mining and the history of Colorado. So I think we enjoyed it 5 times as much as we would have if we didn't catch the tour.
Yeah, I mean, all of the machinery in there, most of the machinery in there can actually be run. So because it was all run on steam back in those days, they have it all set up inside this museum with air pumped to it. So most of the machinery sitting in there, they can turn on and run for you. So we have video of that we'll show you here in a bit. But it's so cool just to not only be in the presence of that large machinery for a tech weenie like me, but to actually see somebody turn it on is
Oh yeah, he was
awesome.
like a kid in the candy store. It was kind of like I was reading the signs, he was looking at the big things that did stuff.
Yep. And that big one, that big pump, when you first walk in, the giant one, they actually built the building around that thing. So that was the area that it was being used, and then it was decommissioned. And instead of moving it somewhere, they just built a building around it and housed it and ended up turning it into this museum. So yeah, I was stoked. I could have stayed there listening to Chip's stories for all
Way
night.
longer. Yes, he knows a lot about Colorado history. I thought the most fascinating part to me, and they show this whole movie about the early miners in the 1800s, is when I really sit to think 1850 to 2018 and how far we've come from what life in those pictures was. And I'm not saying good or bad or whatever about where we are now as the world, but it's just so shockingly advanced. Where are we going to be in 150 years
Right.
from now?
I know.
Like,
Yeah, it's not even that much time in the grand
not
scheme
any
of things.
time at all. Yeah.
But I'm still amazed at the technology they had back then, like that huge flywheel. I was telling the guy that worked there, I said, can you imagine even back in those days how they got such a big piece of equipment built and balanced so well to run like that? And they don't run the machines but maybe 10-20% of their ability. But even when they run the machines, it looks, you know, it's all balanced and it's working properly even to this day. So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, we're starting to hit traffic now. Not sure how I feel about the talking and the traffic. We're okay?
It's good because it's going to quiet it down. They might be able to hear over Hagrid.
Actually hear what we're
so we don't have to
saying.
yell at you so much. So we have to tell you why we took this drive in the first place. Why don't you go ahead and tell?
Oh, well, we were hoping to be able to do video not in the truck today, but outside. And the reality was, we picked up Hagrid yesterday afternoon from the diesel mechanics, and their suggestion was that, not even a suggestion, if you know what's good for you, you need to drive your truck 300 to 500 miles before you tow a thing. So we needed to get some miles on Hagrid today, and it feels a little weird to be in the car. Kids are here, dogs are here, because there's no way we could drive 500 miles and leave them in the RV for the day. That just seems crazy. So
Yeah.
we brought them with us, but there's no trailer. And so that just feels really weird to me.
It does. It's like we're going to our next destination, yet our house is not behind us.
And we've been in the car for 4 or 5 hours, right? Except our museum stop, once it's all said and done, but we
Right.
haven't gone anywhere. We're going to be back to where we started earlier today.
Yeah. So we actually postponed our departure out of Colorado for a day to do this, to get some miles on Hagrid before we can tow it, because we put a lot of money into Hagrid. We don't want Hagrid going wrong on us. So whatever the doctor has ordered, that's what we're going to do.
Doctor's orders.
Yeah.
If it's an apple a day, that's what Hagrid gets.
And it's kind of a bummer because I was kind of getting antsy. I am getting antsy to get out of Colorado and see something new. But the problem is it's supposed to snow overnight, and hopefully not much. But we have to come back down through this area tomorrow, and this area is supposed to get more snow than where we are right now. So I don't really want to drag the big box in the snow, but it is what it is, and that's what we're going to do. So we're pulling out of here tomorrow on Sunday, and we're going to head to La Junta, Colorado, down in southeast Colorado, and then points south and warm from there. So
Warmer,
that
I think,
I am
yeah.
looking forward to.
Walking dogs when it's 21 degrees out has been a bit challenging to get
Yeah.
motivated for a few days.
No more frozen hoses. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we did that one day.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be good. I'm ready. I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to see something new, and I'm ready to get warm. It's been in as low as the mid-teens, and that's overnight. And that's an experience that we really didn't set out to do. So we survived it.
Well, we've survived everything so far, but maybe just barely.
Just barely.
With our sanity intact.
This is what it's like to leave Colorado one day too late. Yesterday was beautiful, but we had to stick around and put a few hundred miles on Hagrid before we towed with him. And now, this is what we have. That right there is supposed to be a light. Can't really find a light in there. Yeah, the trailer's disgusting. I already banged off a bunch of ice down here on the wheel well. Look at that cool little shape. I couldn't come up with that if I tried. So yep, the trailer and Hagrid are gonna have to have a good wash down. Hopefully we'll get out of the snow soon and we can do just that.
What are you doing? It's kind of cold out of here.
I would say this is maybe a little less fun than taking care of the stinky. We are here in La Junta, Colorado today. We decided to leave Colorado. Well, we knew we were going to leave Colorado. It's not like we decided to.
We are in Colorado.
We wanted to get out of where we were staying before the snow flew, but we didn't manage to do that. We got stuck in 6 inches of snow when we left on Sunday morning. So that was fun. That was exciting, having to scrape snow off of the sliders and off the roof. But anyway, so we had kind of a sloppy drive. The RV is disgusting. We came down to La Junta because we're trying to follow a new rule of only 4 hours a day driving when we move camp. So,
Which was way better.
yeah,
Way better.
way better than an 8 to 10 hour day. We actually felt like we had our day. We had the morning to relax a little bit, unless Dad gets
I don't
grumpy
know.
and
He
makes
gets a
everybody.
little salty and makes us
I
sip our
think
coffee faster.
Any drive under 8 hours feels like 30 minutes. Like the 4-hour drive yesterday.
Yeah.
The 4-hour drive Sunday felt like an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
short.
It's a much better way to travel. So anyway, so 4 hours was a good stopping point for us. We knew that Bent's old fort was down here. We've all been to it before, but we thought we would come visit it because it's only a few miles outside of town. And we thought we would stop and show you guys as well. So, I don't know, what do you think? It's a little chilly, yeah?
It is a tad
it's that
chilly, but
bad.
at least the sun is out, so that is always helpful in Colorado.
Wait.
If the sun's out and it's 30, it's manageable.
It is. I mean,
It's tank top weather.
I'm a bald guy. It's 25 degrees out, but when Colorado sun is out, because you're quite a bit closer to it, it feels quite a bit warmer than maybe if the sun had ever come out in Michigan. A little bit different
I think
feeling.
it came out like one day.
But I don't think 25 degrees
And it
would
was
have felt
windy.
like. If you're ever in La Junta or in the area, this is southeastern Colorado, take the time, come down and check out Bent's Fort, because it's definitely a cool tour for the parents and kids alike.
You know, when this fort was built in 1833, it was opened in 1833. It was the first permanently year-round occupied Anglo structure in what would someday be Colorado. Trappers and traders would have built wintering posts, from time to time, but they abandoned them in the spring. Move on. So this is the first permanent year-round occupied Anglo structure. Only 43 years later, which to you two sounds like forever, but believe me.
Yes, judged by how
You'll be
old
shocked
I think
you'll be
we
shocked
are.
how fast that goes by.
That was just yesterday.
But 43 years later, Colorado becomes a state, and there's already a couple colleges in Colorado. So that's pretty quick. And if you think about the whole history of the West, as far as Anglos are concerned, Lewis and Clark were the first Americans to cross the continent, 1804. If you jump ahead to the census of 1890, when they took the census in 1890, they declared there was no more frontier. That's just 86 years, one lifetime. Really. So a blacksmith is doing a lot of repairs on things, especially wagons. Everything's pretty low tech, so if you have a good blacksmith and a carpenter and the right raw materials, you can fix just about anything. Deep. And if there's a slide where the beaver come in and out of the water, that's a good place to set it. You can look for signs like cut down trees, lodges, dams, things like that.
That was cool. If you're ever in this area, you totally need to check it out. And I, as we're learning on this trip so far, always get the tour. You learn so much more, and I think the kids are more engaged when they're hearing the stories from real people. The fellow that gave us the tour today actually works for the Park Service and spends half his year in Yellowstone.
Yellowstone, yeah.
Yeah, and so then it's not a volunteer, it's a Park Service ranger giving this tour, and extensive historical knowledge, which I think makes the whole thing way more interesting.
Oh, absolutely. I said it's like reading the book versus watching the movie. We've both been here at separate times to Bent's Fort and done the self-guided tour, which is neat. You get to read about it if you slow down and take your time. It's definitely worth it. But to have somebody tell you about all the rooms and the people that have come through and the history of it, and that kind of rich detail is so much more worth spending the time and waiting for the tour to start. So highly recommended to do that.
Triple
Do it that way.
thumbs up. And they do lots of events around the year where they have lots of reenactments.
Yeah.
And actors come in dressed. I guess they have one coming up in a couple weeks for the holidays. So, darn, we missed that.
And brr, holy cow, I can't imagine, because these guys actually sleep at the fort in the rooms and everything just like they used to. So not only doing the daytime reenactments like acting, they're living the life. And today it's chilly. Those rooms were cold. Of course, there's no fires going. There's no fire lit in the rooms. But yeah. So maybe find a good time, spring or fall, to come visit it, because I think it gets pretty darn hot in the summer as well. But definitely a must-do in this corner of Colorado.
And there's cats.
And they have cats.
And they have a cat.